Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I'm attempting to make kerbals a multiplanetary species. In this case, we are doing so by bringing home a giant load of karborundum, which we have used a bussard collector to scoop from around the sun, and we are now using our warp drive to bring that home, which is pretty dang awesome. We'll be able to use this stuff to really kickstart our program, and in the future I may have to find a way to get more of it at a time, but right now we're bringing home a tank of about 4,500 karborundum, which is far more than we've ever been able to field before this, and we got it in the course of a day rather than in the course of weeks, which is what it took out on Elu. Alright, so the other thing as we get into Kerbin's sphere of influence that I need to keep in mind is that there's a warning that this warp bubble will rip apart things nearby if it's not inside the warp bubble. So things outside of the warp bubble and other vessels are in grave danger, and I have no idea how far out that danger extends. So we are going to save the game here, and we are going to do we're going to call it modeling to see what that actual distance is. I would just rush in blindly and accept the results if there was anywhere that I could figure out that it was actually written down. I might have to dig through the thread to figure out what the exact number is, but just as easy to just play with it ourselves and figure out what that number might be. Alright, so watching our distance, we are 60 megameters away, 60,000 kilometers, and approaching very quickly. I'm hoping, let's see, what's our target relative velocity? 2,000. Well, that's unfortunate. I was hoping that we would not, I was hoping that we would be able to circumvent a big rendezvous burn, basically. Trajectories is having a field day with this. That's fine. Where is it? Oh, it's on the other side of the planet. Yep, so we're going to have to go a little bit out of our way. All right, and then back in towards the planet. Where are we at? How are we doing? We're doing weird. This is weird. But so long as we don't go down underneath the 900 kilometer mark, and we're about to, so let's go ahead and push ourselves out a little bit more. Let's see, just straight out. There we go. That's the right direction. There, something like that. Now let's push down towards the target once again. And it looks like we are going to have a pretty significant rendezvous burn when we get close, but that's fine. We'll get this figured out. Alright, so we are approaching rapidly. And I'm very nervous about approaching because I have no idea when this is going to explode. So I'm just going to save the game again. 200,000 meters. And 100,000 meters, and now I can actually see it. Get a little bit closer. Alright, well ideally we should probably get ahead of it, right? And then we can slow down and match velocity. So if I were to just kind of point at it and then go by... Oh geez, the big time skip. Alright, so I've put myself a little bit out and ahead of this orbit, and I think what we're going to do is we're just going to flip over to the fusion drive and try to intercept at this point. So we have 230 kilometers per second of delta V, so I think we should be able to make this happen. The key thing that we're trying to do right now is just match velocity. That's the only thing that really matters. We don't actually need to be doing that close to the vessel. As I'm kind of thinking about this, because we are conserving our velocity and we just want to be nearby, and then we can warp into the actual vicinity, and then we can, rendezvous normally. Alright, so I'm pretty sincerely hoping that the issue that I had there was that I didn't actually start in a similar orbit to to the gateway station. I just kind of moved out to a place that was at a similar altitude, and that I don't know if that was actually helpful in any way. So maybe in the future this will be something that is less dicey, but we will see. So now we are moving up real close. Whoa, hello. There we are. Wow, ha, nice. And it just kind of stopped me right there. So let's go ahead and switch this off. Very nice. And here we are. Does this actually have... Did I seriously not put... Oh, wow. Okay. That's fine. I didn't actually put any way to rendezvous on this. I'm not sure that I 100% expected it to work. Maybe? I'm not sure what I was thinking there. But this is fine. I will go ahead and manually rendezvous, and that will be fine. There we go. Now we're sliding in nice and close, and we just need to be close enough to kind of... What? That's weird. What's happening right now? This is off. My warp drive is off. Why is that moving away? Oh. I have no idea what happened. Okay, let's load the game. Okay, so this time around we are trying to just match the velocity. That was weird. I don't know why that didn't... I don't know why that didn't want to stop. So anyways, this time we are trying to match the velocity, and then we are going to see if we can't rendezvous instead of trying to rendezvous and then match velocity. So let's save the game one more time. We will set the target to gateway station, point ourselves in that direction, try to warp our way out there. I think what we saw was the effects of the warp drive on the other vessel. I think maybe it just kind of pulled it apart. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. I did just have to time warp a bit because I'm a doofus and I once again forgot to actually move away from the planet before I try to do any warp maneuvers. Alright, so we're trying one last time, this time with the target velocity matched, and I'm in a place where I can actually warp. Ah, goodness. Okay, so save the game one last time. Thank goodness I have 230,000 meters per second of delta V in karborundum, because I am just wasting it frivolously because I don't know what I'm doing. But we are learning together. We are figuring out how to actually make good use of the warp drive in a career game. Alright, so let's get a little closer and see if this causes explosions again. Alright, so from here, let's turn off our... Nothing's happened, I hope. Oh, that's... oh, I see a piece of debris. I don't know if that's... Alright, we have arrived, and I think everything's okay. Did anything break? Are we alright? I think nothing's broken. Yeah. Alright, we look like we're okay. That's good. Only problem is we're upside down as it relates to the sun. So this is perhaps not a good place for the solar panels. I may need to just bring up a PDU, and that will be just something I'll do a little bit later on. And that's fine. We'll just do nuclear power generation because I thought it would look cool to have the solar panels and all that. But apparently, I don't know what's taking so much power. Maybe it's this habitation ring. Let me just see if I stop habitat for a second. Well, that's part of it, but anyways. Yeah, so got that set up. Nothing seems to be broken. We have this up close, so let's just scooch this in a little bit closer because I forgot to actually include any sort of rendezvous equipment on here, so I kind of just have to jet in close and then hope for the best. I'm not sure what I was thinking. I think that I was expecting the warp skiff to rendezvous with this so that it would, because the warp skiff does have rendezvous capabilities. It does have the RCS and monopropellant and all that sort of thing. But we can slide in a little bit closer. And then I can just kill the relative velocity very gently. There we go. I think everything's fine. Alright, that'll do for the moment. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to have... who's got the wrench? Jorsey? Leyland. Leyland with the wrench. Quick dart between the spokes of the hub. And what we do have down here, even though I was silly and forgot any kind of docking equipment, I do have at least KAS pipes that I can use to transfer stuff. Please don't kick. Stop. Oh dear. Okay. Save one more time. Because I'm fairly certain now I'm definitely going to break something. Here, we'll put that. That's not where that goes. That goes here. Okay, there's no way. This thing's now floating and rotating and being very irritating. Alright, so that's done. Now let's see how far this can reach as far as pipes. Okay, link to here. Please don't shake apart. Please, oh please. I am spoiled by local and planetary logistics is really what this is. Okay, so we want to move the karborundum from this tank into this tank. Pull it in. Alright, and we have begun collecting karborundum in the gateway station. So that's awesome. So a little bit later on, I think we are going to do some more warp maneuvers and send some kerbals out to gain experience out throughout the universe, or at least through the solar system. So for our next step, we are bringing the warp skiff up to Gateway Station to have it depart and leave for a bit of an adventure, because we have a couple things that we would like to get done with this vessel and the crew that we have on board Gateway Station. So we are just going to use a little bit of karborundum here to get ourselves up to Gateway Station. Might as well just transfer normally. I think we have a little bit of delta V. We have a little bit over 100,000 meters per second. It's just such ridiculous numbers. But yeah, we have like 100,000 meters per second, so we might as well just do this normally, since it's not like we can use the warp drive to get up there anyways, and we might as well not do anything janky, like try to go straight up and then rendezvous that way or something like that. So anyways, alright, here we are shaving off the last little bit of relative velocity as I come in alarmingly close. And once we kill off all of our relative velocity, we can just go ahead and warp around a little bit to the sun, I think, so that we can actually see what's happening. There we are. Alright, so we're just going to grab, let's say, this docking port. Go ahead and open this shield, because something is in the primary docking port there on the front, but that is totally fine. And let's come in for this docking. Alright, just making some final adjustments as we head in towards this docking port. And I'm hoping that nothing gets too weird about all this and what we're trying to do here in the future. So we are docked up, very nice. And what I'm hoping to do now is we have a couple contracts to do some very silly things, and I found that I'm going to be able to do a couple things kind of simultaneously with this. So we have the ultimate challenge, which is a flyby of every single body in the solar system, and then a suborbital flight above Kerbin, and then the Ike 6 voyage, which is a flyby of a subset of those bodies. So I think that should not be any kind of problem to do, and that will have the additional additional benefit of providing a tremendous amount of experience that should, based on my calculations, get all of the kerbals that go on that voyage up to level 5, which is what we are looking for in our intrepid Duna astronauts. We need the best and the brightest, the most capable engineers, the most intelligent and resourceful scientists to make this trip. So let's go ahead and move everybody over to the warp skiff. So we have 4 people in the Taurus. Frandy, Jorzy, and Katie Kerman. Let's see, where is everybody else? Should be somebody. Leyland Kerman, still hanging out in the airlock. All right, who else? Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody. We got Calgal, Frandy, Jorzy, Katie, Geofwise. I don't know where you are. You're in the, oh, they're in the cupola. Move you over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's everybody. And we are full up with the warp skiff. So let's go ahead and save the game. And we are going to start making our voyage. We need to make sure we get a little bit further away from the station, and looks like we are still maintaining that flag that says we are newly launched, which is good. So let's just back away using some monopropellant. And the interesting thing about this particular journey is it shouldn't actually take any real time, and it shouldn't take any delta V, because we are just doing flybys of all of these places. We don't need to worry about actually slowing down, orbiting, or anything like that. So it's a little bit like cheating, but we're gonna call it fine. All right, so we are just going to push away a little bit. We don't want to get too far away in relative velocity compared to the gateway station, but we do need to get some distance in between us so that the activation of the warp drive doesn't blow anything up. So I think we're going to try like 2,500 meters away just to be safe, and then we'll see if that's enough. All right, we are 2.6 kilometers apart, so we are going to now switch our engine to the warp drive, and our first target, I do believe, is the moon. The moon, the moon, the moon, where is the moon? Point at the moon. Oop, turn off RCS, we don't actually need it. We can, oh, it's over that way. All right, where can we go instead? Do we need to go by Minmus? Yes, we do. Minmus. Point at Minmus. And we rotate towards a random speck in the sky and begin warping towards it. Whoops. Did we do it? Okay, I think we got the flag anyways. Fly by Minmus. Huzzah, very nice. Yeah, that's how silly this is. This particular... Where's the moon? I see Kerbin twice. Celestial bodies. That's weird. That looks a little broken. Where am I?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Okay, looks like I need to get back into orbit around Kerbin, first of all. I kind of fell out of its sphere of influence, it looks like. So let's just point back towards Kerbin. But yeah, that's the one thing that I really dislike about this is that there's a step here where you go... just like that, where you go from like 1%, 2%, 3% to the speed of light, and then you jump up to 167% of the speed of light, and all of a sudden you're way far away from where you thought you were going to be. But that's fine. Point at the moon. You just have to be very careful. Let's just pin this over here. And then we slide by Minmus. Still heading towards the moon, which we can just see is a little orb right there. I think I just slipped through something sphere of influence. Not sure what it was. Alright, 3% the speed of light. Brings us by at a decent speed that we can actually seem to control. Although the moon is coming at us rather fast. Alright, there we go. Very nice. Looks like we need... let's do the inner planets first, and then we will head towards the outer planets. But first, Let's point at the sun. Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting thing. This is going to be a good way for us to make a pretty decent chunk of money for doing something rather arbitrary and something that I wanted to do anyways, which is get these kerbals up in levels. So what I've actually done is I've kind of made a list based on the wiki of 67% of the speed of light, based on the wiki and how much experience you get for visiting each body, because I wanted to see what the minimum kind of warp round trip would be to get kerbals to level 5, because we're going to have a couple different bases, and I'm pretty sure that the individual bases do not actually share the kerbal experience with, you know, anything around them. So you can't have like somebody in a rover outside of a base and have their experience count for anything. You actually need to have a kerbal inside each facility. It can be inside the entire connected base, but you have to have one for each. And so that means we're going to need a lot of different kerbals with high level skills to run all of the drills and the converters, recyclers, farms, all those sorts of things. So we are going to need a stable of very highly skilled kerbals, and this is a relatively easy way to do it, I think. And this is also going to force me to be able to, you know, figure out how to leave a vessel and then rendezvous with it again at the same speed. And I'm thinking that what's going to be required is actually visiting at like the same location that we left it. So yeah, there'll be some playing around with that a little bit later on as I figure out exactly how to make this work. Boop, there we go. We are in, not in orbit, but we are flying past Moho at incredible velocities. But yeah, let's grab some science while we're here. Why not? Crew report, sure. Send that back for 3,000 funds. It's not even worth my time getting out of the vessel. But that's one more box checked. Now we are off to Eve. Where is Moho? There it is, that hot and angry ball of rock. So close to the sun. Alright, now we can see a purple speck in the distance, so let's point at it, and off we go! Whoops. Am I going to be okay? Alright, we're going to be okay. Alright, we have warped a little bit close to the absolutely gorgeous Eve. Wow, look at that. Yeah, so we are sliding past Eve. I have warped in a little bit too close. Our failsafe is 1,050 kilometers, and we zipped in to about 700. So you've got to be very careful with that, because if I didn't happen to put my periapsis out here at 521 kilometers, like, I could very easily have accidentally stopped here instead of here, and then this crew would be doomed, or I would be frantically burning the burning this karborundum fusion drive to try to get out of the way. Yeah, so be very, very careful if you're going to try something like this. It's so easy to think that you're just completely invincible, and then you get careless, and then you get dead. But instead, we are just going to get to slide right past and head up in altitude. See the beautiful green sunset at the Terminator on Eve. And now we are going to go poke past Eve's moon, Gilly. But unfortunately we are all out of time, so we are going to have to join back up in this mission for leveling up our kerbals and seeing the entire solar system next time. So if you enjoyed this episode, please share and subscribe, and I will see you then.